here soon. I'm leaving quite early tomorrow morning. Undercover, baby, is what you ask of me. Soon I'll be disguised. Shooting star, I'm without a safety net. Give me a ride, I'm going far beyond where the sun sets. Dear, I'm no longer scared.
So here's something that I hesitate to do on this channel very often because I don't want to come across as one of those douchebags who knows everything and his way is the only way and it's just the best thing you can do, and geez, if you don't do it, your balls are going to fall off or whatever. So, but I will share something that I do, that I practice. Now that I just got through telling you I don't want to sound like one of those guys, but I find when I'm ripping longboards, now these are just over 16 footers, it's kind of like using a hand plane. When you use a hand plane, especially when you're trying to do the edges, you're trying to do joint or joining, if you do this a lot, you're just pushing that along, you're going to tend to rock it and move it where you don't want to. But if you take your body and use your legs to do it and keep your arms locked, it's a lot more accurate for you. At least it is for me, and I think a lot of people I know that are into it, same for them. It's just a lot more accurate. Same way when you're running your circular saw for long rips. Now I find that if now of course I'm left-handed, so I know that makes me one of those creeps, but it kind of works the same if you're right-handed. If I go along and I push with one arm, which isn't always the brightest thing in the world, but that's just how I do it. I've done it my whole life, so that's just what I do. But anyway, if I go and I just stand in one spot and I push the saw like this, we'll exaggerate this a little bit. The saw wants to move around a little bit because I'm moving my arm. So when I'm moving my arm, I'm naturally swinging that saw around a little bit. But if I go through and I just use my legs to do the ripping, pushing of the saw, it's a lot more accurate for me. That arm stays locked, your hand's not moving all over the place. And it may seem kind of odd at first, because it's a very natural thing for us to want to just keep reaching and keep cutting, and I do that quite a bit more than I should. But I find every time I do that, I get a wavy cut. Now a lot of people, you'll use ripping fences, things like that, and they work great, but these are 16-foot long boards. I don't feel like screwing around with screwing a board on top of this thing to use for a straight edge. So that's kind of what works for me. Take it how you want it. Like I said, I don't want to seem like one of those know-it-alls up here, but that's what works for me, and it might work for you. So right now we're just ripping boards so we can kind of close in that stairwell, and it'll also give me a little more wall space so that I can put some stuff up there, have a little ease up some of this workbench that's already getting cluttered and crowded. So that's what we're into. That's what we're kind of putzing away on tonight. I should just rename this channel the Putzing Around channel. Maybe Tradesman channel isn't quite so fitting anymore with the just the putzing around, but I enjoy putzing around. It's good for you. So stay tuned. Hope you enjoy it. I'll catch you on the other side. I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about here. Now I cut this one two ways. I did it with my arm locked one way for quite a distance, and then I reached with another so I could show you guys what actually happens. Now, even though reaching, it was not intentional to get off in the cut, but it's just very easy to get off there. So if I hold this straight edge up right here, we are tight. If I can hold it straight on there, we are tight all the way down through here where I had my arm locked and I was moving my legs. Come to up here, we have about an 1/8 of an inch gap right there where the saw kind of wandered a little bit on me. So it's something to keep in mind. Let's see if we got that in the camera. We did not. Let's try that again. There we go. So you can see right here where I started reaching, there's a gap right there. It's a pretty good gap. I'll take the pencil. I can actually put the pencil down in there. If I come back a ways where I had my arm locked and was using my legs, we didn't have that. So that's something to keep in mind. Like I said, just a little something I do. You don't have to do it yourself. We are a people of free will. So there it is. The top edge there is a board off of my sawmill, and the bottom edge right there is one that we ripped tonight. Try not to shake the camera too much on you. Now it's not picture perfect, but I'd say that's pretty darn good for a freehand cut with a circular saw. Now that cut right there is with locking the legs and letting it go. If you come down here, this is the board I showed you on the sawhorses. This is what happens when I start reaching with the saw, moving my arm around. Get a little bit of a wave in there. So that's my bad cut, and that's where I actually lock my legs and go with it, or lock my arm and go with my legs. Oh, I can't talk. I say that a lot. Like I said, it's not picture perfect, but I'd say it's not too bad for just rough lumber and freehand cutting. So there she is. We are ending this one like we do with all the ones, it seems, lately. Feet up on the workbench in a cheap $10 plastic rocking chair. I had a viewer call me out on this chair recently, and I thought it was pretty funny. He says, you know, a guy who could build a building like that, knows the timber framing and knows woodworking, sitting in a cheap plastic rocking chair. Something about shameful. That was funny, and he put it very well. I thought that was really funny. But I guess he's kind of right. I guess eventually we'll have to make something. But I'm not promising any more projects until I get the ones done that I have started on this channel over the last 2 years to begin with. I'm going to start getting a reputation for not finishing anything if we keep this up. Of course, if you talk to my wife or my mother-in-law or anybody else, they're going to tell you I already have that reputation. But we're getting better at it. Yeah, definitely getting better at it. So that's my little trick that I use for making straight rips freehand without breaking out the fences and stuff like that. You could see the spots where I locked my arm and just used my lower body to move the saw. Much more accurate than the ones where I was actually reaching, pushing the saw with my arm. And it works the same with a hand plane. It works the same with a lot of chiseling, things like that. It's kind of the same principles as using your hand tools, and you kind of translate those to power tools. That's kind of why there's a lot of woodworking purists out there. I say the modern woodworking purist who doesn't like to do anything without hand tools, or you see these channels that use nothing but hand tools when they're on camera. Who knows what they do when they're off? But there's some pretty good talented ones out there who are really good with the hand tools. And if you watch them, if you watch the guys running their hand planes, things like that, pay attention to how their upper body is locked in and they're just kind of moving their hips and their legs, using that to power through. It's amazing the difference in the quality of the work that you're going to get doing that. Like I said, I'm not going to tell you that's the best way, but that is the way that works for me, and I think a lot of other folks out there are doing the same things. So yeah, that's kind of her. So we are, first time we've really been out and worked out here in a couple of weeks. So it's kind of a nice evening to do a little bit out here. We're getting ready to start insulating and sealing up. They make a spray foam. I guess it's a black spray foam. I've never used it before, but it's made for sealing up sheet metal, your roofing material. So I'm hoping that I can use it in a lower temperature. I got to find some. I think they have some at our local Home Despot or our local Blows store. So we'll try that stuff out and see what works, because the foam in between the metal where the gambrel roofs meet, the high roof meets the lower roof, didn't quite expand and seal up very well. Which it's nobody's fault. It was just put on when it was cold. It's no different than trying to do an asphalt shingle roof when it's cold outside. It just doesn't always work the way you want it to. But we can fix it. It's not a big deal. It's not nothing I'm going to allow to rock the building out. We're just going to get up and do it. So we will be, I say this weekend, I'm kind of hoping for this weekend to be able to start picking up insulation, getting that in. So I'm sure there will be a million videos on that coming up, insulating this thing. So we get this closed up, finish closing that stairwell in, get a door on it, and then this will be safe for my toddler to be up here with her mom when she is exercising. My wife is a exercise fanatic. I don't know how the hell she gets the energy to do it when she's chasing kids all day, because that is a job that is harder than anything I ever have to do, I can tell you that. But she does. She finds the time. I don't know. She's just good, I guess. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this one. I hope that tip was useful to some of you, any of you new folks here or any of that. But like I said, I hope that was useful. So have a good one, guys. I will see you on the next one.